How's it going, everybody? This is Jesse with Jesse's Knife Reviews, coming at you with another knife review of a knife that I've owned for some time. And this is, or was, actually my main belt knife for a while. And this knife is actually definitely popular amongst the bushcraft crowd. It made quite the stir when it came out. It's from a company that you've already seen on one of my previous videos, and it was a popular knife. And so let's talk about it. And that knife is the Mora garberg. It is Mora's full tang knife, and it was their first full tang knife they came out with. They came out with a stainless steel version first, and then the carbon. This is the carbon steel knife, and it is a very popular knife amongst outdoorsmen and bushcrafters. It's been my main belt knife for some time now, and the reason for that is it is a carbon steel knife, like I said, 4.3-inch blade, 3.2 millimeter thick, Scandi ground, and made in Sweden, like the other Mora knives, full tang. And it's got a poly mid handle, which is good for, I mean, you can do it this way. You can do it this way if you're trying to do some pull cuts, and you don't get no hot spots. I mean, it's not super slippery or anything like that. It's not super grippy either. I would say you would have to have some sort of slime on your hands or a lot of blood or something like that for it to be a slippery knife. A lot of blood meaning if you're cleaning a game animal or something like that. And even then, I don't think it would really slide out of your hand for whatever reason. This knife was not really meant as a skinning knife, but more of a woodworking knife, bushcraft, making camp things out of wood that you need rather than carrying them in. But a belt knife should be able to do all those things, and this knife will do those things. It's a little thicker than what I like, just barely, but it works. And I'm sure you'll see in some other videos some knives that are thicker than this one that don't work so well. In upcoming videos, this one does work. It will strike a ferro rod. You can, a lot of people like to be able to use a flint to create a spark off the back of their knives. You can do that with this knife. Like I said, it's super popular for these reasons. I mean, it's the fit and finish on this knife is pretty decent. So right now, at the time of this review, you can get this version with this sheath for about $75 to $78. If you want the other versions, and it does come in some other versions, other sheath options and stuff, it will go up to around $90, a little over $90. So let's talk about the sheath. So this is a poly sheath. You can reverse the sheath for left-hand carry. It does have a leather dangler, or you can get a full leather sheath with a flap over, or you can actually get a MOLLE compatible sheath that a sheath like this goes into, and you can attach it to shoulder straps on backpacks and all those things. It has some nice drain holes there. Definitely not going to hold water in. So it works pretty good. I wish that they had another way for this to be a little bit more like a traditional dangler. If you don't know what that is, I'm definitely going to go into that in later videos. But it works pretty good. It kind of rides in the middle. I typically carry a firearm when I'm out in the woods on my hip. And one thing I like about this sheath is it will ride in a place that this can be on my belt as well, on that side, and it will hang the knife just below it so they're not in the way of each other because you can tilt it out from it. That is handy. Or if you're wearing big heavy coats or anything like that, it will kind of sit below that so that it's not in the way, and you can twist and turn when you're sitting and things like that. This knife does take a fairly good edge. and it does sharpen back up. I don't think it sharpens as well as I would like. In other words, it doesn't take quite the edge that I would like for this knife to take as my main belt knife. I reviewed a Condor Pterosaur in one of my other videos. That knife will take a much better edge. And of the Moras that I have handled and used, this one probably doesn't take an edge quite as well, just because it has a little bit steeper grind angle, I think. I think this knife would have benefited from it having the Scandi being a little bit higher, but you know, that may not be a common opinion amongst others. This knife seems to be very well liked and very well loved. And I like it as well. Like I said before, it has been my main belt knife for camping, woodcraft, even some serious hunting trips where I was going to go a few miles into the woods. This knife was in my pack, or one of the knives that I would take along in my pack. I would take this one or a couple other different knives that I have. And it's definitely reliable. It's robust. You can do some light batoning with it. Obviously nothing too big. I would say 2.5 inches would probably be about the biggest I would baton with this knife. And I'm not a big person for batoning. I only baton wood when I have to. I typically like to have a hatchet or something like that along, but this knife will do that. I've not heard of anybody breaking one unless they absolutely 100% meant to break it. And I'm not positive that I have heard of that. I definitely don't think I will be breaking this knife doing the things that I like to use a knife for. So there you have it. That's my opinion on the Mora garberg. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and follow along for more videos. There'll definitely be more to come.